Brave men and women who have served our country faithfully often need our help to successfully transition back into civilian life. Brave Radio is here to highlight veterans and the companies who are making a difference in our veteran community. And now, the host of Brave Radio, Eve Nasby.
Welcome to Brave Radio, where we're focused on engaging our veterans and making a difference in our business community. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here to highlight the best and brightest that San Diego and this nation have to offer. We have a great show planned today, so let's get started with our good friends, John Funk and Kaz Lockett from Easter Seals of Southern California. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So great to have you back. It makes my day every time you guys are on the show. And today we're going to continue that conversation, John, about the stereotypes. We talked about that last week, that sometimes veterans carry with them. Sometimes we civilians misrepresent and kind of try to pigeonhole veterans into these stereotypes, which is just ridiculous. Today we're going to talk about the stereotypes around combat experience. And as we were talking about, there's a lot of myths that come with veterans that have had direct combat experience. People have certain impressions of what impact combat has on the soldier involved. And, you know, I think, Kaz, as we were talking about earlier, that there's an impression that everyone involved in combat is wounded, either physically or emotionally. And you guys, that's just not the case. There's a lot of soldiers out there who have had traumatic events, and they all deal with it in different ways. So, Kaz, you're the man, you're the Marine, you had combat experience. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I am the man and I am the Marine. So
I teed you up well, didn't I?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Welcome.
So a little bit of my background. I joined the Marine Corps, I would say pretty much out of high school. I did go to college for a very short period of time, but it just didn't work out. And I found by being 19 years old, I was in a boat and September 11th happened. And the next thing you know, I'm in Afghanistan. So pretty much for the stint of my Marine Corps career was combat. It's just, or training up to go to combat. So part of that is you can never really think about what's going to happen or what you're going to experience when you're actually over there doing your job. I went in rationalizing that I would probably be a part of some stuff that was not common.
Right.
All right. And there's a lot of veterans who may have joined after September 11th who knew they were, you know, that we were at war and that there was a potential for them going over, but didn't rationalize for themselves some of the things that they might have experienced, or being, as I said earlier, being cranked up to 11 at all times.
Yeah.
And when it's the unknown, I think for most of the people and my colleagues and some of my friends who were in the military, it was the unknown of the whole thing, specifically when Iraq ended and the actual against a foreign army, and it was more of an insurgency or the populace that you really don't know where it's coming from, and there's IEDs in the ground and so on and so forth. Every time that you would go anywhere, there's the potential of something happening.
Right. And so you're 19 years old, you're walking in Afghanistan, and you're always on. You're ready for anything. The adrenaline's flowing, and you're looking around every corner, right? So there's a lot of stress, a lot of trauma that can happen in those experiences.
Absolutely. And it's funny because if you were to go online and you were to go look at these memes of like veterans in combat, and you have this guy who is sleeping during a mortar attack, eventually you become numb to it. And everything around you just becomes daily operations. And then when you come back, you know, it's not that way, but yet you're still, at least for, you know, a little while, still cranked to 11.
So talk about that. Now you're out of the military, you've transitioned into the civilian workplace, if you will. How have your experiences or the situations that you saw in Afghanistan, how has that reshaped who you are and how you function in the civilian world?
Well, I take what I did in the military as a whole as a benefit in the civilian world. Like, the experiences that I had in the military taught me who I was as a person. It allowed me to understand what I can handle, whatever stress level that may be, and my ability to cope and then move forward or deal with it and, you know, still accomplish what needs to be accomplished.
Right.
You know, obviously there are some things that affect me. I always scope out a room before I enter. I like to know who's in there, and I find if something were to happen where the exit points are, I like my back to the wall, like, you know, those types of things. But that's more of a the military taught me to be very observant, and that just enables me to be the most observant I can be.
Right.
Also, I know I can do multiple things at one time. So that's obviously, for the civilian workforce, that's an amazing thing. Like, you can give me 10 different things. I can prioritize those things and then make sure they get accomplished in an order, understanding the big picture.
Well, we're going to have an interview with our good friend from Eset, and she talks about why you guys are her favorite hires. That's the military, and that's part of it. So, John, what response reaction to what Kaz is talking about, this emotional stress that comes out of combat, translating that back into the civilian world, what do you see with regard to PTSD in the workplace?
First off, it's the negative aspect of the labeling. Just from post-traumatic stress, that we're not here to argue the merits as to its psychological condition, but everybody has trauma in their events, or traumatic events in their lives. Civilian or military, right? People experience death, heartbreak, loss, assault throughout their lives. Right. I mean, everybody's going to experience it in one way or another, and it's all about how you process it.
You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs, or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here with John and Kaz from Easter Seals of Southern California. So how does this type of stress, is it stigmatized if it happens in the military? So now all of a sudden, just because Kaz or John is in the military, some civilian employers will think, oh, they automatically have PTSD.
Right. People label everybody all the time. I mean, people look at me, retired naval officer, 28 plus years. There's a lot of folks out there, and I think in the civilian workforce, that think senior military officers, I don't want to hire you because you don't work. Right? You just bark orders and you delegate to people. Wow. And you come in and say you've got leadership. Well, I don't need leadership. I need somebody that can manage. I'd make a strong argument that leadership is actually what every organization really needs.
That's right.
But it's that labeling. I love the fact. So we started joking at the beginning of this that so Kaz is the Marine in the room. No, you know what Kaz is? Kaz is a person, and we start off with Kaz as an individual, and we recognize him as an individual. Yes, he is also a veteran. Yes, he was also in the Marine Corps. Yes, he's also a combat experienced Marine. We can go kind of further down that trail of things that we want to label Kaz as. But I think it's important that not only we recognize Kaz, but the employer recognizes Kaz as an incredibly capable and talented person.
Well, thank you.
So how does Easter Seals of Southern California work with employers on how to overcome this stereotype and dealing with the stigma of combat veterans?
Well, a lot of it is just kind of addressing what I'll call the elephant in the room, right? So here we look at Kaz as an individual, but physically, he doesn't seem to have anything, apparently visibly wrong. Physically, he's not missing a limb. So, but when Kaz tells us he had almost 9 continuous years of combat experience, we might automatically label that. Well, if he doesn't have a visible physical injury, then he must have some kind of invisible injury. And I think it's important to just address that no, that's not in fact the case. Just because somebody is a combat experienced individual doesn't mean they're going to have this invisible injury and that they're somehow broken.
Yeah, I think the assumption is that people who have not been in combat think they know what it's about. And when it comes down to it, every individual person in the military, or maybe they were a civilian contractor who were in these combat zones, experienced what they experienced, how they experienced it, and it's unique to each individual. So when it comes down to how do you handle or help employers understand how to, embrace a combat vet or any person who has a traumatic experience in their life, is to treat them like a person and then, play it by ear as it goes. Like, I don't need to be coddled. I'm not a victim. A lot of veterans, a lot of our clients, certainly they're like, that was a part of my life and I experienced that. Now it's time to move on.
Kat, I want to zero in on what you just said, because I think this is so important. Many people with PTSD, maybe they like being categorized as a victim. Maybe they like that stereotype, but most of folks with PTSD don't. right? They don't want to have that stigmatism, don't want to be stereotyped in there. It's just treat me as a person like you were talking about. So the people that you have seen with PTSD, the friends that you have interacting, how do they respond? What are some of the things that they say, hey, I wish people would treat me differently, or what's the response?
Well, there are some who do, I hate to say it this way, play the victim game. And I think it's from the outside in versus the inside out. I think everything around them is telling them that they're a victim and they're embracing that. But when I speak to them on a personal level, what's going on, like you tell me what's happening, they just haven't found the mechanisms in order to get past whatever it is that is bothering them. So some people will call that traumatic, whatever the case is. But other than that, most of the people like that were in direct combat or in combat arms or anything of that nature, when it's over and done with, they want to try their best to, well, obviously they're embracing that part of their life, but they want to move on, move forward. It is no longer something that they want to be, in a sense, hampered with like any further.
So John, you've got these folks who are listening, maybe they or someone they know is stuck. They're stuck and they feel like they've been compartmentalized or stereotyped into this role. How can Easter Seals of Southern California help them get out of this and move forward?
We spend a lot of time with the veterans that we work with that are seeking employment to, well, we'll use the phrase, discover their own personal genius. We've received training on that through something called the Job Developers Handbook. Kara Griffin, Dave Hammis, Tamara Geary, their publication. And this personal genius is about who are you as an individual?
Yes.
What are your interests and passions? Where are you at your best? And then we want to take all those thoughts and capitalize on that to convert that into, well, what does that look like for something that's potential from an employment perspective? So it's working on all the positive attributes and what they bring to it, not labeling them or saying negative. And it's not about what they don't have. It's about what they do have.
Well said. Well said. All right. We're running out of time in the few moments that we have left. Anything else you guys want to talk about around this stereotyping our military with PTSD?
I would venture to say, think about when you hear post-traumatic stress and what feeling it brings to you as a person. And tell me, or think out loud, I guess you would say, whether or not a positive comes from that. Most of the time, you won't. Many people that I've probably spoken with say there's not a whole lot of positives that come from PTS. However, I would venture, or in a sense, challenge you to change your perspective, because, like, you may say that I have post-traumatic stress, but I think many positive aspects have come into my life because I've experienced what I've experienced. And you can say that for any demographic of people who have had stresses in their life, whether that's traumatic or everyday. So embrace the positive of it. For employers who are out there, you're getting a human person who has emotions, who has experiences, who are embracing their own experiences. And what's good for you is that they have experiences that are uncommon. So they have uncommon visions, uncommon ways of looking at the world, and you can benefit from that. Like, I think that's the greatest thing about like hiring a veteran, is that they have experiences that are not normal to everyday civilian life, because they were put in some extraordinary experiences. So.
And they were successful in those situations. They're cool, calm, collected, kept their heads. And Celeste is coming on from Eset in just a minute. She is amazing. And she's going to talk about all those wonderful characteristics that our military has and why Eset is focused on hiring veterans. John and Kaz, thank you so much for joining us. Very lively discussion. Thank you.
Oh, as always.
John, anything else to add?
We brought combat experienced veterans on our team for the very attributes that you just talked about. And it's not just because our veteran clients can relate to them. It's because they are incredible performers. And they're not good. It's not about, are they going to freak out on me? I know they're actually not going to freak out. They know how to deal with some incredibly traumatic events. They know how to persevere. They know how to get the job done. That's why I think people should be out there seeking those combat experienced veterans to bring onto their teams.
All right, so I want all the employers and all the hiring managers and folks that you know have positions open to call Easter Seals of Southern California. For those veterans, and John, how can they get a hold of you?
You can reach us at easterseals.com/SouthernCal.
Wonderful. John, Kaz, thanks again.
Oh, I appreciate you having us.
Always a pleasure.
You're listening to Brave Radio, where we focus on matching veteran talent with innovative companies that make a difference in our community and in our nation. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, and we will be right back after this short break to talk to Celeste and Dina. Celeste is from Eset, Dina's from SUNA. Don't go away. Tired of your employees being late?
There was so much traffic.
Tired of poor excuses and poor presentations?
My kid ate my homework.
Tired of employees just not being able to handle the pressure?
You mean I gotta work a full 8 hours today?
Skip the hassles and excuses and hire individuals that are trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, adaptable to change, and focused on teamwork. Hire a veteran. More than just a patriotic gesture, hiring a veteran of the United States military comes with a host of benefits and tax credits and can provide your company with valuable leadership, organization, and accountability. Allow the Brave to help your progressive business connect with qualified veteran candidates today and find out more by visiting thebrave.us. That's THEBRAVE.us.
Easter Seals Work First Military and Veteran Services provides free one-on-one personalized employment assistance for local veterans through their Bob Hope Veteran Support Program. Easter Seals' team of employment specialists is dedicated to achieving successful, long-term job placements that benefit both the veteran and the employer. Learn more about how you can receive services, connect with a future employee, or make a donation by visiting easterseals.com/SouthernCal. That's easterseals.com/SouthernCal.
Hey, boss.
Yeah.
I need to hire someone. Our workload's increased and man, I could use some help.
What are you looking for?
I need someone unlike Ben, who doesn't freak out, when the copier breaks and the phones are down and the receptionist calls in sick.
What do you need?
Leadership. I need a leader who can just get it done with little direction and ahead of time would be great. With the prima donnas floating around our department like Sally and Jason, it's a challenge, man, to get things done. I need a team player, trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, and adaptable to change.
There's only one place you're going to find talent like that.
Show me where.
Our United States veterans. Call Eve right now at 619-244-3000 or log on to thebrave.us and let's hire a veteran. It's good for business. It's good for America.
Brave is a part of America's largest service-disabled veteran-owned business, Merit Consulting. We are dedicated to placing great companies with great veterans. Call today. Welcome back. You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. We are back in studio, as promised, with our friend Celeste Blodgett from Eset, Vice President of Human Resources. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
And you brought this wonderfully intelligent young lady with you, Dina Ayala from San Diego HR Forum and SUNA. Welcome, Dina.
Thank you so much, Eve, for having me back.
It's your second time. Now you're a veteran. You're old hat at this, second or third.
I'm always a pleasure to be back here. This is great.
You're amazing. And for our listeners, she looks like she's 19 and she's got 6 kids. So
right?
she's off the charts amazing. And congratulations on your award. Last week, Women of Influence went on stage. She's a rock star. So Celeste, we're here to talk about you and all the amazing things that you guys do. And our last segment with John and Kaz, which was just such a great conversation, we talked about some of the stereotypes that civilians like us might place upon veterans, and wrongly so. Like every veteran who's seen combat must have PTSD. And if they do, then they must have, they can't be accommodated. There's just a lot of crazy myths out there.
Right.
And yet you take the opposite approach.
That's right.
Have you ever been in the military?
I have not been in the military.
Okay, so you and I are the same. We've never been in the military, but we see the focus and the passion of our veterans, and we want to hire them and create these programs. So
that's right.
Tell me, we were talking offline about why you are so passionate and why you love to hire veterans. So tell me about that.
Okay. Well, my father was in the military, and my nephew is graduating from West Point this year.
What's his name?
His name is Nathan Pennick.
Nathan, congratulations.
Thank you. Top 10% of the class.
Oh, woo-hoo. Wow. Fantastic.
I've always had a fondness for and a tremendous respect for the military. Being a former teacher and doing the jobs that you're giving back a lot to community. I've always seen the military the same way, and like the police, they do so much for us to protect us.
Yes.
And so why couldn't we give back? And I was telling you earlier today when we were talking that hiring the military, for me, are the best employees that we have at Eset.
And why is that?
Because it's a common, factor is that they show up on time. They're extremely respectful. They're dependable. They can do multiple things at a time. They prioritize, and they're very calm. So I tend to put a lot of the military personnel into our programs, like our safety programs. They're always ones to help out in our philanthropy programs. They're always about giving back. They're the most generous employees, and I just know that I can always depend on them. I really love them.
That is great. So for those listeners who don't know what Eset is, and you and I were joking about your amazing marketing team, because if you sit in the San Diego airport for any length of time, you'll see that blue robot come on.
That's right.
So tell us what your company does.
Sure. To put simply, individuals and businesses use our software to keep themselves and their data protected from the hackers. So we always say our tagline is like, we're the good guys keeping you safe online from those bad guys that are trying to get your personal identity and things like that.
Great.
It's an amazing product.
Yes, it is. And so talk about the different positions within your organization that you might have open today or it might be coming open tomorrow that our listeners think, oh, I'd like to work for Celeste.
That's right. We have a lot of openings typically in our customer care department and for our technical support. So when customers call in and they have a problem or they need something, that customer care roles are always much demand. And also in our IT field and our business systems. So working in the programs and software, security experts, those are the type of individuals that we're looking for. Typically, always, we're always hiring.
And so for security, kind of a natural liaison with the military, right? So tell me that story. You told a great story before we went on air about the individual you met with and why you thought he would be a good fit for you.
Oh, great. Yes. So my CEO, Andrew Lee, one day was walking this Navy SEAL gentleman around the building. And as he walked by my office, he introduced himself. Very nice young man. And he said, I would love to hear a little bit about Eset, and I'd also like to know, the type of people you hire. So the two of us went to lunch, and he said, okay, so I've been serving and I just got out. And, what could I do in the field? How could I get a job back here? And I said, let's talk. So we started to talk, and so impressed with his wide range of skills. And after talking to him for a while, I said, I think you'd be really great in operations, and what we could use you for is helping us with our disaster programs, our operations. We tend to put, like I said, a lot of the personnel from Eset that are a military background into the safety programs, but like developing a program for, let's say there was a disgruntled employee or there was a terrorist attack, coming up with a plan, an evacuation plan, a program that would keep us safe. And the more we talked, the more he got interested in something like that. So I said, why don't you come to the company and do some consulting work for us and help us develop like an emergency disaster plan and things like that. So that's where we're going to go from there right now. So we're just kind of in those beginning stages of getting them in.
And here's what I'd like for our listeners to hear on this. Back up with me at the 50,000 foot level. What just happened? Here is a veteran person. He is transitioning out. Is he applying online? Maybe. But how did he get this opportunity with Eset? He was networking.
Yes.
He was sitting down. He was talking to people. He was being open. So if you are listening and you're a veteran and you're in transition and you're getting frustrated because nobody is returning your emails, please get involved, get out there, get networked, jump on LinkedIn, see who you can find, get involved with those groups. And if you're in HR, we're going to talk in just a second about a great organization that you get plugged into. You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here with Celeste, Blodgett, and Dina Ayala. Dina, you are the president of one of the best human resources forums here in San Diego called San Diego HR Forum. And I'd like for you to highlight some of the programs that you are starting for veterans who are interested in HR.
Absolutely. And if I can in a second, I'd just like to talk about networking, because Celeste was talking about that and you were talking about that. And that is key. No matter what you're going into, that is absolutely key. 70% of all jobs right now are found by networking. So if you might want to start with social media, follow someone on Instagram, figure out their Twitter, if you want to kind of go that route and then get into a conversation and then a meeting, that might be one of the best ways, or come to some of the programs. And a couple that San Diego HR Forum has is a mentorship program. So if you want to have a formal relationship with a great senior HR leader like Celeste, you could come to us and we can match and pair you with a leader. Or you could come to our monthly meetings. We always have great subject matter experts on talking about subjects related to HR. So if you're a veteran looking for HR, we are really the place to go.
Where are those morning meetings?
Those are right here in La Jolla. So at Green Acres, a fantastic restaurant, a Brian Malarkey restaurant.
Yes.
So please come on in. It's an open format. There's networking pre-event. And then during the event, you have topics that we all kind of discuss, and you have a speaker kind of speak with the group and engage with the group. So you're really learning at the same time. And then afterwards, a little bit more networking. But please do come. If you ever want to learn more about our events, go to SDHRforum.com. That's SDHR Forum, FORUM.com.
Now, I want to comment on two things. If you're a military person out there and you're interested in HR and you want to go to these events, you have to call me or tweet me or get on our Facebook page, because I know somebody who knows somebody who can get you in free.
Right? Anytime.
So and I also want to encourage our listeners to, HR is a great opportunity. I mean, Celeste, you were a teacher.
That's right.
Preschool,
second grade, third grade. Mm-hmm.
Second and third grade
That's
teacher.
Right.
And 9 years ago, through different circumstances, you said, okay, I'm gonna go from second and third grade teaching to teaching big kids.
Right,
I'm gonna go into HR. But if you're a relationship type of person, if you love training and development, if you like employee relations kind of stuff, human resources might be a path that you want to follow.
That's right.
And the San Diego HR Forum is a great place to start. So, Dina, what you're saying is, if our listeners are interested in getting into HR, they can get plugged in, get a mentor like a Celeste?
Absolutely. Celeste actually has been a mentor with San Diego HR Forum. She's one of our senior leaders. Absolutely the type of HR professional you would like to meet. But you could reach out to myself. You could reach out to Eve. You could even reach out to Celeste. We're all very plugged into this HR community, and we're all here to help.
Absolutely.
What other programs do you have?
So I would say the mentorship program is probably a key one. The monthly meetings is the key one. We have a annual event called the Executive of the Year event, but it not only is there to help HR executives kind of come out and showcase what they're doing within the community. It's there to also sponsor HR teams, so you have an opportunity to meet anyone within the HR team. And then, of course, our website has tons of jobs posted. A lot are internships. So those are kind of the ways to get plugged in. That's right. Just start with any one of them.
So you wear a lot of different hats, Dina. You're also with SUNA. So talk about the programs that they have.
So SUNA is a huge national staffing firm, but very huge here in San Diego. We're the largest executive search firm here. We run about 7,000 jobs per year. So we're constantly looking for people all over. And so what we're doing within SUNA that I want to mention today is we actually have an internship ourselves, an HR internship, but we're looking for a veteran specifically.
Okay.
Hopefully somebody may hear us today, but we're moving into our new location. This job is going to be vital. It's all avenues of HR, but it's almost a trainee as well, where you're kind of looking at different aspects of SUNA, everyone from recruiting through sales to HR, and you kind of get to see what you might like within our organization. So if that sounds interesting, we're looking to have one special person kind of come under our wing and learn.
Okay, so how do they get a hold of you if they're interested in this job?
Well, this particular job, is it okay to just give out my phone number?
Go for it.
All right. This particular job, call me, 760-855-6426. Please do give me a call personally, and I'll be able to help.
Okay, that went really fast. Give it one more time.
Sure, 760-855-6426.
Awesome, Dina. Thank you so much for all that you do for SUNA, for San Diego HR Forum. Celeste, I love what you're doing for our military. So how can those who are listening to you right now and think, oh my gosh, I want to work there. I've heard of them and I've seen that blue guy on that screen. How can I get plugged in? How do they reach you?
Sure. Contact us through eset.com. That's ESET.com, and go to our career site and pull up our jobs and apply online.
So are there any specific unique skills or experiences that a person in the military should have before they apply, or are you looking for anybody?
No, we have a vast, demographics and vast skill sets for positions. So I would say to, just go onto the careers and look and see what might interest you and what you might be good at, and, throw your application out there. And like I said, we really do, when we review the applications, when we do see military experience, it's really something that already gets us excited to get someone in like that. So, make sure that you do list that as well on your resume and on your application.
I love it. Tell us one more time that website.
Yes, it's eset.com. That's ESET.com.
Anything else you'd like to add, Celeste? You've got a Women in Cybersecurity event coming up.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's going to be really exciting. So I sit on the San Diego Police Foundation board, and we are going to be announcing 3 amazing women from the San Diego Police Foundation in the police force that we're going to be recognized this Wednesday for Women in Blue. And at the same time, ESET, we are the pioneer frontier. We are doing the first Women in Cybersecurity, and I am so excited to announce our scholarship for one of our leading women that is getting into cybersecurity. So if anyone is not doing anything Wednesday at 11 o'clock, we'd love to have you at the Women in Blue Luncheon. And you could contact our San Diego Police Foundation if you're interested. But what a great program, just like our military, the police out there keeping us safe, and ESET keeping you safe online.
And thank you for appreciating them, because I think the military and the police department, they're underpaid, and
yes,
we take advantage of them.
We do. We do.
And I think thank you for highlighting them and
Absolutely.
honoring them and all that you're doing, Celeste.
Well, I appreciate all that you do too. And I know we share that common love for both the military and the police, just talking to you how much you appreciate them. So thank you for inviting Dina and I to be with you today. You're just amazing.
Thank you so much. Anything else, Dina?
No, she highlighted on something I think is fantastic, is women in cybersecurity is such its own field.
That's right.
And I'm also part of Women in Technology, so we connect on that part, and it seems like it's something you're passionate about.
Very passionate.
A minute to talk about that.
I'm very passionate about promoting women. The demographics in a lot of the software companies and cybersecurity, it's so small.
Yes.
And a lot of the colleges right now are starting these cybersecurity, certification programs, and it's exciting because I want to empower women to get involved in these type of things. I mean, at ESET too, we're really looking to hire women as well, just to get our demographics, a little bit better on that. So if you're a woman and you're military, come see us.
You're the perfect match for ESET.
That's
Call
right.
now. Call today or go online to eset.com.
That's right. Thank you.
Right. Ladies, thank you so much for being a part of the show. It's been great.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
You're listening to Brave Radio, where we focus on matching veteran talent with innovative companies that make a difference in our community and in our nation. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs, or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, and we will be right back after this short break to talk to Mike Sabelico from the Alliance. Don't go away.
Hey, boss.
Yeah.
I need to hire someone. Our workload's increased, and man, I could use some help.
What are you looking for?
I need someone unlike Ben, who doesn't freak out, when the copier breaks and the phones are down and the receptionist calls in sick.
What do you need?
Leadership. I need a leader who can just get it done with little direction and ahead of time would be great. With the prima donnas floating around our department like Sally and Jason, it's a challenge, man, to get things done. I need a team player, trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, and adaptable to change.
There's only one place you're going to find talent like that.
Show me where.
Our United States veterans. Call Eve right now at 619-244-3000 or log on to thebrave.us, and let's hire a veteran. It's good for business. It's good for America.
Brave is a part of America's largest service-disabled veteran-owned business, Merit Consulting. We are dedicated to placing great companies with great veterans. Call today.
Easter Seals Work First Military and Veteran Services provides free one-on-one personalized employment assistance for local veterans through their Bob Hope Veteran Support Program. Easter Seals' team of employment specialists is dedicated to achieving successful, long-term job placements that benefit both the veteran and the employer. Learn more about how you can receive services, connect with a future employee, or make a donation by visiting easterseals.com/SouthernCal. That's easterseals.com/SouthernCal.
Tired of your employees being late?
There was so much traffic.
Tired of poor excuses and poor presentations?
My kid ate my homework.
Tired of employees just not being able to handle the pressure?
You mean I gotta work a full 8 hours today?
Skip the hassles and excuses and hire individuals that are trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, adaptable to change, and focused on teamwork. Hire a veteran. More than just a patriotic gesture, hiring a veteran of the United States military comes with a host of benefits and tax credits and can provide your company with valuable leadership, organization, and accountability. Allow the Brave to help your progressive business connect with qualified veteran candidates today and find out more by visiting thebrave.us. That's THEBRAVE.US. You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here with our good friend Mike Sabelico from the Alliance. Mike, welcome.
Hey, Eve, thanks for having me on this morning.
It is such an honor and such a pleasure. We love having veterans who do great things for veterans on our show to educate and to inspire. So I'm so blessed to have you on the show. So tell us about, first of all, your opportunity in your career with the Coast Guard.
Well, I originally went into the Coast Guard because I wanted to play football for the Coast Guard Academy.
You did.
Kind of funny reason to go in, but it worked out very well. I was a little bit too small to play Division I football, and in high school, that was pretty much all I lived for. So I ended up getting accepted into the Coast Guard Academy and thought I'd just do 5 years and then punch out. But the Coast Guard offered me a lot of opportunity. I was able to have command of a Coast Guard cutter at the ripe young age of 23 years old. And,
wow.
That was an 82-foot patrol boat. So my career actually followed a great path, and I enjoyed it, so I ended up staying in for 21 years.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. And so tell me, what was your highlight? What did you love most about being in the Coast Guard?
Well, I joined the Coast Guard, the academy, predominantly for football, but I also had worked for my uncle, who was a commercial fisherman in Long Island Sound. And as fate would have it, we were rescued by the Coast Guard twice
okay.
as our boat was about to sink. So I really had a lot of respect for the Coast Guard, as they had saved my hide a couple times. So when I joined, the Coast Guard was still recognized as the premier life-saving service in the world, and it still is. But after 9/11, it took a pretty sharp turn, and we also became more like a police entity, and we also got involved in counter-narcotics. So the highlight of my career was probably, there were several, when I was either commanding officer or executive officer of different ships. And there were 4 or 5 that I was on, and we on one of my ships we made the largest maritime cocaine seizure in history. At that time was 12.2 metric tons of cocaine from the fishing vessel Natalie 1.
Oh my God!
And we towed her back into San Diego Harbor, and I was on a 180-foot buoy tender at the time. And then earlier in my career, right after on the patrol boat out of New London, Connecticut, I got assigned to the Rescue Coordination Center in Boston, and I was actually on duty the night of the perfect storm. So as fate would have it again, I was the most recent graduate of search and rescue school, so I planned the search for the Andrea Gale, which unfortunately did not turn up anything, but it was quite an operation. We also lost a PJ, a rescue pararescue jumper from the Air National Guard out of Suffolk, New York. So we searched for him while we were searching for the Andrea Gale, and we didn't find either of those because that storm was just horrific. But it was a real large search area, pretty much covering the coast from Halifax down to New Jersey. And we had assets all over the place, Navy, Coast Guard, civilian assets. So it was a major operation.
And, I think you bring up some really good points. And in our last segment, we were talking to the Vice President of Human Resources, Celeste, who was talking about the characteristics and traits of veterans and why companies should hire them. And what I'm hearing from you is obviously you've got exceptional leadership, but keeping your calm under pressure and having these really big projects to accomplish with little to no direction. You've got all these assets you've got to track and manage and everything, and you're doing multiple things at the same time. I mean, that's the natural iteration of folks who are in the military. Would you agree?
Oh, certainly. And when you look at problems you're going to face in the business segment, vice problems you face in the active duty military, look at our young Marines who are out there with a squad, and it's life and death. So when you think about human resources, about scheduling logistics or, getting some work done, it doesn't seem as scary or as insurmountable when you've been faced with those other types of scenarios in your life. So I think being cool under pressure obviously is a major asset that most of the military folks bring in. Most of them are very, very loyal. They're very punctual. So veterans do make ideal employees as well as business owners themselves.
And also the leadership. I mean, the leadership skills that you learned and you developed, trial by fire. There's all of those characteristics in our veterans. And again, I encourage folks who are listening, if you know of an opportunity within your organization, look to veterans. Give us a call. Let us know how we can help you identify great veteran talent. Now, speaking of leadership, you are now over what is called the Disabled Veterans Business Owners Alliance. Did I get that right?
The Disabled Veteran Business Alliance.
Okay.
I'm the executive director.
Otherwise known as the Alliance. Tell us what the Alliance does.
Well, the Alliance has been around since 1994, and our mission is to provide we want to empower and provide resources while working side by side with disabled veteran and veteran business owners to support them in establishing, maintaining, and growing viable businesses. So the state of California is recognized as the gold standard across the nation for their DVBE program, and that's the Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Program. And you can get certified as a disabled veteran business enterprise with the state, and they set aside 3% of the state budget to do business straight with disabled veteran business enterprises. And the state of California actually has the fourth largest economy in the world. So that's a large chunk of money that the state has said, hey, we're going to support our veteran and disabled veteran-owned businesses, and we're going to provide them opportunities because while their competitors were out there gaining experience and growing their businesses, our veterans are out there making sure that we can live the way we live in our country. So they don't look at it as giving them a handout. It's more like a hand up. So they want to help the veterans catch up with their civilian counterparts in the business arena.
You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here with Mike Sabelico from the Alliance. And so what I hear you say, Mike, is that veterans, first of all, make great business owners. They're entrepreneurs at heart, many of them. And so now you guys provide a safety net, if you will, of the Alliance where these folks who are starting their businesses can come and they can get best practices, they can get plugged in. And the state of California is actually saying, hey, look, if you start your own business, then we're going to give 3% of all that we have here in the state of California, which is billions of dollars. We're going to give millions to folks who have started their own businesses. We're going to buy everything from copiers to services to, what are some of the types of companies that are involved in the Alliance?
Well, you have a variety of types of businesses in the Disabled Veteran Business Alliance. And not only does the state have a program, but the federal government also has a program, and it's a 3% set-aside program, too. So I'd like to say the federal government and the state buy everything from paper clips to missiles. So you can imagine all the different types of businesses that would sell those types of products and services to both the state and the federal government. There are some individual businesses that don't fall into this, and there are many veterans who choose to open a restaurant or open a barber shop or various service entities like tire stores that traditionally are more commercially centered than somebody that's going to sell to the federal or the state government. So not every veteran or disabled veteran business owner can benefit from these programs, but the state and the federal government buy a heck of a lot.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, say that I'm starting my own business and I'm a veteran and I'm going to start selling paper clips and I want to get plugged into the Alliance. What does the Alliance offer me specifically? Do you guys have meetings? Do you help me find an SBA loan? Exactly what do you do?
Well, the biggest thing that I think you get from joining the Alliance is hopefully you're going to get some advice on how to set your business up first.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the first hurdle you have to pass. Am I going to be an S Corp? Am I going to be a limited liability corporation, a sole proprietor? There are various decisions that you have to make as a business owner that regard taxes and employees and other things as you grow down the road. So you want to figure out what's the right entity formation. And from there, we'll also help you figure out, and we offer training via webinars or at our events on how to start your business. The biggest question I get from veterans, and I teach the SBA's Boots to Business program quarterly at Camp Pendleton, the young men and women that are coming out say, yes, I want to be a business owner. I want to run my own business. And the first question I ask is, well, what type of business do you want to run? And their answer is, I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
I let them know that's a key decision there.
Yeah.
But one of the programs that the Alliance is running, it's called Passing the Torch. And we have these Vietnam-era veterans who are getting older that are looking to move on to another segment in their life. So we're hoping to match up the disabled veteran business owner Vietnam-era folks who have established successful businesses with the younger vets who don't know exactly what they want to do, and it's a perfect marriage. The issue is then we talked about SBA loans. Well, most of these young veterans don't have any money, so there's an agreement that needs to be reached between the current owners and the potential owners on how you're going to do that transition. There's a bunch of different ways to manage that, and we do have some banking entities and venture capital funds that are backing some of these younger veterans and helping these transactions become real. So
that's great.
It's an interesting process, and it's great to see the Vietnam-era vets finally get some help and get the respect that they deserve because they were not treated very well when they came home, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with you. So tell me, with the Alliance, how you have monthly meetings that people can get plugged into?
Yes, so we have chapters around the country now. So we are a national organization. We started in 1994, and as of 2 years ago, we're national. So we have chapters in Texas. We have chapters forming in North Carolina, Illinois, and Wisconsin right now. And as we grow across the country, we'll hopefully get chapters in every state. But those chapters, you either have monthly or quarterly meetings. And then we have large business events, like our big business event annually is called Keeping the Promise Across America. This year, it will be held at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, which is home of the Dallas Cowboys. And it's May 17th through the 19th.
Okay. Now, with local, so San Diego, Orange County, there's chapters, they meet monthly. So our listeners who want to start their own business or who know somebody that want to start their own business, they jump online to your website. What is your website?
www.dvba.org, and you can find information about the San Diego chapter, the Los Angeles chapter, the Orange County chapter, and the Inland Empire chapter. And they each have meetings, and you'll find information about where those meetings are and what time they are online. And, of course, if anyone has questions, they can please feel free to call us too. My email is on there and my phone number. Happy to talk to any young man or woman who's a veteran who wants to start their business. And you are so responsive. And you also were spearheading the event up in Beverly Hills just in November, so a few months ago, where you had, I don't even know how many movie stars showed up into that room to show their support. And because of you, we were connected with Pat Boone, and he was on the show last month. We had a great chat with him. Do you see a lot of an upsurgence of support for veteran-owned businesses? Yeah, we have. And I think that across America, patriotism is at an all-time high. And I think that's great because, again, these young men and women have put their life on the line, and they're out there defending the way we live. And as you know, the world is still a dangerous place. So without those folks out there we're not going to be able to live our lifestyle the way we're accustomed to. So the folks that come from Hollywood during our Salute to Veterans Day breakfast, it's just fantastic to see that type of support. You've got people, back in the Vietnam days, there was people demonstrating against our soldiers and sailors, and now we have them coming to our breakfast and putting their arms around them and saying thank you. So, we've had Gary Sinise at the event, we've had Anne Margaret, and a host of other celebrities, and they all show a lot of support. One of our prime supporters is Justin Chambers from Grey's Anatomy, and he brings the entire cast of Grey's Anatomy almost every year to the breakfast, and it's just a great event. And as you said, Pat Boone was there. He's a tremendous supporter also.
He is, and Marie Osmond came up to our table to chat, and I mean, it was a star-studded event, and what really warmed my heart was their support and their voice to support our veterans. So again, thank you for standing that up. I know that took a lot of hard work and effort. And again, the website is dvba.org, dvba.org. And on this website, you'll be able to find out how you can get involved locally and then across the nation. Keeping the Promise Across America is again going to be at, tell us again, the AT&T
AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, home of the Cowboys, on the 17th through the 19th. And before you cut me off there, Eve, I wanted to say thank you to Gary Herbold, who is one of our leaders of the Alliance. He was one of our past presidents, and Gary has done a great job helping us as we've grown from out of the garage, so to speak, to an actual 501c3. So he's a great supporter, too.
I agree, and he happens to be my boss. So thank you for that shout out.
You're welcome.
Mike, you're amazing. And not only do you do the Alliance, and we're going to go back to your leadership and your multitasking with all the experience you got in the Coast Guard, you also have a full-time job with, was it Vanguard Global?
Correct. I own Vanguard Global Solutions, and we're an emergency preparedness and homeland security company. We provide both products and services to the federal and state government.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your continued service to our veterans here as they start their own businesses. It can be daunting, but the camaraderie that the Alliance has with the groups and the meetings and all of this stuff makes it a little bit easier, and to know that they're not alone and best practices are shared to ensure their success. So Mike Sabelico, thank you so much for what you do with the Disabled Veteran Business Alliance, and thanks for being on our show.
Thanks, Eve. It was a pleasure.
I'm Eve Nasby, and you've been listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170 The Answer. If you want to find out more about how you can hire top veteran talent, or if you're interested in being a guest on our show, visit our webpage at www.thebrave.us, send us a tweet at BraveJobs, or like our Facebook page. From all of our guests and me, thanks for joining us. And until next Monday, may God bless our veterans and God bless America.
Thanks for listening to Brave Radio. If you know a veteran looking for work, or if your company is hiring, call Eve at Brave at 619-244-3000. Give her a tweet at Brave Jobs and connect with them on Facebook. To be a guest on the show, visit thebrave.us.
Tired of your employees being late?
There was so much traffic.
Tired of poor excuses and poor presentations?
My kid ate my homework.
Tired of employees just not being able to handle the pressure?
You mean I gotta work a full 8 hours today?
Skip the hassles and excuses and hire individuals that are trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, adaptable to change, and focused on teamwork. Hire a veteran. More than just a patriotic gesture, hiring a veteran of the United States military comes with a host of benefits and tax credits, and can provide your company with valuable leadership, organization, and accountability. Allow the Brave to help your progressive business connect with qualified veteran candidates today, and find out more by visiting thebrave.us. That's THEBRAVE.us.
Easter Seals Work First Military and Veteran Services provides free one-on-one personalized employment assistance for local veterans through their Bob Hope Veteran Support Program. Easter Seals' team of employment specialists is dedicated to achieving successful, long-term job placements that benefit both the veteran and the employer. Learn more about how you can receive services, connect with a future employee, or make a donation by visiting easterseals.com/SouthernCal. That's easterseals.com/SouthernCal.
Hey, boss.
Yeah.
I need to hire someone. Our workload's increased and man, I could use some help.
What are you looking for?
I need someone unlike Ben, who doesn't freak out, when the copier breaks and the phones are down and the receptionist calls in sick.
What do you need?